Monica is an intelligent girl who's just started working for a bank. She's great at writing and reading, but struggles with articulating herself. She finds herself at a party, in a conversation, when all of a sudden...
I'm a chemical engineer. That's about it, really. How about you? What are you up to?
Oh God, need to think fast.
That's a good question, actually. I work at that bank, the big one. I actually really like money. Do you like money? Or...
Planning articulate speeches and presentations is one thing, but what about those people that come across really articulate every day, on the fly, completely unplanned and unprepared? This can be very challenging for so many people. You have clear thoughts in your head or when you're writing things down, but you can't seem to convert it into coherent speech. Or under high pressure scenarios, you get scatterbrained. You forget what you were going to say and you say something stupid that you later end up regretting. You worry about how you come across to others. You struggle to sound interesting or to be heard and to express who you really are in these social situations. But before we look at how you can be more articulate, we need to understand, what is being articulate? Articulate. Being able to express your ideas in a clear and concise manner. The skill to choose apt words to lend more clarity to your thoughts. As unfairly as it is, verbal communication plays a big role in the way people perceive you. If you're able to communicate effectively, you'll open yourself up to new opportunities, you'll be making new friends, you'll become that confident, capable, charming person that people tend to gravitate towards. You see, there's three key components to being articulate. Number one is the words that you choose. Number two is the delivery. And number three is practice. The first key tip under the words you choose is to try and eliminate filler words. What are filler words? Well, the key is to identify which filler words you use on a regular basis and to try to cut those out of your everyday language. I'm sure I'll watch this video back and I'll have used plenty of filler words that I can then identify and try and cut out myself. The second point under words you choose is expand your vocabulary. Right, you tell me to just read a dictionary? No, that's not what I'm saying. Well, it's part of what I'm saying, but the key thing is, if you're gonna cook a gourmet meal, you're gonna need a whole lot of ingredients, or at least it's easier that way. Same way, if you want to have an articulate conversation, it's easier if you have a big brain full of lots of words to choose from. Use a dictionary, read more books, highlight and identify words you've never heard of before. Look them up and then try to use them in everyday conversation. That way, you'll improve the number of words available to you. The other tip here is to try and be more specific. Don't say, I'm taking the thing to the stuff. Number three is to ask the right kind of open question. Is eating all you do on the weekend? Yes. Conversation dead. What kind of things do you like to eat on the weekend? Oh, I love to eat toast. I like to eat grapes. I love to put butter on my toast. The conversation flows much more easily when you ask the right types of questions. If I ask an open question like, what do you like to eat on the weekend? People are not going to give a one-word answer. If they respond with something like, what do you like to eat on the weekend? Yes. Maybe you should send this video pretty damn quick. Also, try to never end your open questions on or do you like to eat butter on your grapes? Or makes you sound like you don't know what you're talking about, like you're unsure, and I hear this so often. Try to practice ending your questions properly. The second component of being articulate is delivery. And the first part of how you deliver things is that tone is everything. What is tone? Well, tone is not what you say, but it's the way in which you say it, the way that people hear the words that come out of your mouth. Why is this important? I don't know. 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 The tone in which you say something completely alters the way you come across to other people, even though you're using the exact same words. So a couple of tips on how you can use tone more effectively. First of all, if you're someone that tends to mumble or speak a little bit unclearly at times, a good way to improve this is to make sure that you pronounce very clearly the last part of every word you use. Another trick is to emphasize the key word you want people to take away in a sentence. For example, I can say, you take component A and component B and you put them together and this creates a component C. And I can say, you take component A, you take component B, you put them together to create component C. Try and change the tone and inflection of what you're saying to convey emotion. What I mean by this, if you're someone who's very monotone and just likes to Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, that show was amazing. It was really, really good. I'd love to go back. Just try and add a little bit of inflection in there instead. Wow, that show was amazing. I'd love to go back. It just conveys a bit more emotion, makes you more of a person. But don't overdo this. It needs to be sincere. You know, if someone says, "Oh yeah, last night I bought a really nice loaf of bread." Wow, great loaf of bread. That's amazing. The next component of improving your delivery is to take deliberate pauses while you speak. This captures people's attention and makes them wonder what is coming next. That was really weird. That was uncomfortable for me. The key here is to get comfortable with silence. So many people are terrified of leaving a 2-second silence in a conversation. That was really weird. That was uncomfortable. That was uncomfortable. If you embrace the silence, you will be the king of conversation. Next time you have a conversation, leave deliberately long silences. It might feel uncomfortable. It'll feel like it was 10 seconds to you, but really it'll have been about 0.5 seconds, trust me. Finally, if you're someone that tends to speak very quietly, you should try speaking a bit louder. Record yourself or ask friends and family if they think that you're usually quite quiet. And then just try and tone it up a couple of notches. No need to shout, because that'll be a bit weird. The third component to being articulate is practice. Of course it's practice. There's 2 types of practice. There's solo practice and there's group practice. A couple of types of solo practice I would recommend. You should use online word choice tests. You should use synonym tests. You should use brain training programs like Luminosity. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but there's plenty of other alternatives that are just like it to improve how linguistically sharp you are. How quickly can you recall words on the spot? Another great way to do it is to get your freestyle rapping skills out. Put on a sick beat and try and throw some bars. Why? I'm not trying to make you the next big rapper. The reason why this is great is because it mimics a conversation. When you're trying to think of words to rhyme on the spot, it's just like in a conversation when you've got to think of words to use quickly. So use a random word generator, slap on a sick beat, and try and spit some bars. People might think you're weird, your family might think, what are you doing? Just tell them you're trying to be more articulate, like your boy Snoop Dogg. This works because it helps you to recall words quickly on the fly with no preparation, which mimics the environment of a conversation where you haven't prepared. Finally, I would recommend you pick a random topic or idea, use a random word generator, maybe read a summary online or watch a YouTube video, and explain it back to yourself as if you're speaking to a group of people. Record yourself, watch the recording, and try to identify which of these tips and points are mistakes you're making and where you can improve, and then actively try and focus on those areas. Callum, that's a bit weird. Who the hell sits at home and practices their conversation skills, right? You're supposed to just go out and be like James Bond, like busting out punchlines left and right. That's not how it works. Think about it. Professional footballers sit at home and juggle their balls. So why can't you go out and juggle your words? Finally, we have group practice. Solo practice is comfortable. It's great. You get to stay at home and it's easy, right? But group practice is 80% of the game. Firstly, I would recommend you record yourself during meetings, presentations, while speaking to a trusted friend maybe, and you watch back to look for mistakes and tips in a scenario where you were actually speaking to another person, where you were under some pressure and anxiety, because this is where you really tend to see a lot of the mistakes come out. You could sign up to acting or improv classes. It'll not only push you outside of your comfort zone, but it perfectly mimics the fast-paced, on-the-spot environment of a real-world conversation. Finally, we have social situations. You need to go out in your everyday social interactions and keep these tips in mind and look out for the errors that we've spoke about. You need to put yourself in uncomfortable situations because that's how you'll learn. Speaking to people that are different than you, people that are more senior than you, people that you maybe don't get on with very well, because these are the scenarios where you're really going to be able to practice being more articulate, because it's always going to be easier with a close friend. Having these tips and knowing the things to look out for will put you at a massive advantage when you do go out and do this. But speaking of tough situations, let's see how our friend Monica's getting on.
I'm a chemical engineer. That's about it, really. How about you? What are you up to?
Don't be afraid to take a few seconds to respond.
Well, I've actually just started working at their newly established bank down in Golders. What a lovely area. When's the last time you had a chance to visit?
You know what? It must have been about a year and a half now. It's been a long time.
As you can see, this answer used no filler words. It used an open question, which did not end on or. It asked about the other person. It was specific, used different vocabulary, and also made good use of pauses. The sentence was delivered more slowly, and emphasis was put on key words, and tone and inflection were used effectively throughout.
You know what? I love money. I absolutely love money.
It's good, isn't it?
It's so good.